Hey Spartans, welcome to Tyrant's Halo Infinite Legendary Walkthrough. No saves, no deaths. We're up to Mission 2, Foundation. This is where you're going to be introduced to the AI that helps the Master Chief. Her name, the Weapon. Oh yeah, and your first boss battle. Good luck, Spartans.
Hey, what's up everyone? It's the Tyrant here, and welcome back to my Halo Infinite Legendary Walkthrough. Today we're doing Mission 2 entitled Foundation. I am so sorry it took this long for this to come out. It definitely took some time for me to get through this one. Lots of challenges here, mainly on my part. There are some issues with the game as well. There currently are no fresh restarts. So whatever weapon you have when you die, and you try to restart, you restart with that weapon rather than the weapons you actually started the mission with, if that makes sense. It's weird and messed up. So today we're going to be going through this mission, and I'm going to get you through it. I'm going to walk you through each and every process. This has been very painstaking, but I have gotten some tips from very special friends. Mainly, I'm going to say that some of the tips I got through, I did find some of these on my own and refine some of these, but I did get a lot of tips from both Halo Completionist and Proist Joker, so definitely give those guys a follow if you don't already. They were way ahead of the curve on me on this. And again, sorry this is taking so long. I'm probably not going to be playing the cutscenes through like I usually do for my previous Legendary walkthroughs, because there are a lot of them, and they're lengthy. So I'll play this one and one more, but that's about it. So right off the bat, when you jump out of this Pelican, there's going to be an elite miner. And so you're going to want to decimate his shields with a pulse carbine. It'll take a few pulses, or a few just a few clips right there, and that's about it. If he hides behind one of the structures, just grapple. Just keep going. So we're going to grapple slide throughout this entire initial segment right here. This is the best way to go. Otherwise, you're going to be dealing with a brute captain with a Ravager and a bunch of other enemies. So we're just going to take this route right here, grapple slide when you can, and when the way is clear, just grapple up here and right through the window, and you should be in pretty good shape. So in this next area, we're going to be encountering mostly grunts and shielded jackals. There are going to be a few brutes here, and in a room off to the side, 2 elite miners. So there is a way to actually grapple to the top. We're not going to do that. I'm not really good at grapple tricks. So we're just going to throw a grenade here that usually takes out the 2 grunts and the shielded jackal. Equip your carbine and take out that jackal. I'm going to go ahead and grab this fusion coil and take out the jackal and the 2 grunts here. Be very careful with the fusion coils, because the enemies can actually fire at you, and in the process either shoot the fusion coil off your hand or in midair, and it could kill you. So we have a couple of brutes here, just 2. We're going to take these guys out. I managed to get one with the fusion coil. We're going to finish the other guy off with the Mangler, and we're going to backtrack a little bit, go ahead and reload here with the Mangler, and we can go up to the second story structure right here, and there's 1 shielded jackal. We can take him out pretty easily, and there's some pulse carbines in the crate right behind me, so you have plenty of ammo for that. So there's 1 shielded jackal here. There's a few grunts down below. Be very aware of their needler aim, because they will home in and kill you. So be very careful of that, as well as the fusion coils below. In the room off to the left, this battle does tend to change a little bit there in terms of the enemies. Sometimes there's an extra brute in there. The jackal that I'm shooting right here, sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. And then there's usually a few grunts below. So we're going to go ahead and take care of these guys. At the end of the room are 2 minor elites with pulse carbines. So you can usually take them out from afar pretty easily, as long as you have your pulse carbine. So we're going to use that. But take these guys out first. Keep a very close eye out on your radar, by the way. I have not had to do this since Halo Combat Evolved, but the radar is very valuable here. So make sure there are no other enemies around you, because they are numerous and they will surround you very easily. So there's a little bit of a bridge here that we can use just to sort of get a little bit of advantage over these two elites right here. Sometimes they'll spread out, other times they'll stay right there where you see them now. So we're just going to take them nice and slow. And because you don't have to pick up a new plasma weapon with the pulse carbine, or with any of them for that matter, you can just pick up the ammo right there. So from here you can just access the gravity lift. I'm going to go ahead and lift up here. Like I said, you can skip that segment technically, but it's not a difficult one. I actually think that the grapple technique is more difficult, at least for me personally. So now that we're up at the top here, we're just going to go ahead and, platform hop here. Cross the light bridge. And now this room is a little bit more difficult, so you can technically skip it. I've seen it done. If you touch the door on the other side, it does open. But there are several enemies and you can get killed quite easily. So my recommendation is, for the most part on this lower platform here, you have grunts and shielded jackals. There is a shielded elite back there. There are more grunts and jackals on the ramps, and there are 3 elites on the back half of this particular room. 2 minors and 1 major. The major is slightly harder to defeat, but not by much. It may take just a couple of more pulses or pulse shots from the pulse carbine. So that's about it. So I just go ahead and fight this one out. I've tried it. I've tried skipping it, and it can be done, but I don't recommend it. So go ahead and just take your time. There's lots of structure here, lots of ammo. As you can see right here on the left-hand side, there's lots of pulse carbine ammo. And the pulse carbine, in my opinion, is one of the most powerful weapons in the game, aside from the scorpion gun. So, and of course we don't have the scorpion gun at this point because that happens in the next mission. But essentially with the pulse carbine, it has the best of all worlds, right? So it shreds shields like any other plasma weapon would do. It homes in like the Needler does. And on top of that, you can actually land headshots like you just saw right there. I've never seen that before. So it is one of the most overpowered weapons in the campaign. Can't say that for multiplayer necessarily, but for campaign, it is absolutely perfect for getting through. So we're going to be using the pulse carbine for most of this walkthrough. Now, I just sort of a side note here. You can enter this mission with a battle rifle from the previous mission because weapons do carry over from one mission to the next. I'm not going to do that very much in this walkthrough in general, in terms of trying to grab weapons that you can't get from the next mission and use those. There are 2 exceptions. The scorpion gun is one of them. As I've mentioned before, I held a poll. 81% said use the scorpion gun, so I'm going to be using that from Outpost Tremonius forward. And the second one is the boss battle in this mission. He has Tremonius has a Hydra launcher, which does come in handy for Outpost Tremonius for the Shade turret in general. So we're going to be carrying that over. But aside from that, I want to use primarily weapons that are only available in the mission itself. So you don't have to worry about carrying over or any prerequisites when you actually go into this mission for the walkthrough. So we're going to take these guys out just slowly, carefully. It looks like we're good, I think. Nope, we got a jackal. There we go. Take it. All right, there we go. All right, so doors open. Again, you technically can skip through this part. You can grapple to the ledge to the upper platform, and then after that, to the door itself. Once you touch the door, it's open, but it does close once you leave it. So you got to be careful with that too. It's possible, but there's a lot of enemies, and on Legendary, Master Chief does take a lot of damage from enemies. So just be aware of that. So I'm going to let this cutscene play out. I do feel like it's very significant to the game. But for the rest of the cutscenes in this mission, I'm not going to lie, I've seen them quite a few times between my full campaign of cutscenes videos and my attempts in doing this. So, yeah, I'm going to let this cutscene play out and then I'll go on from there.
What happened? Where is Cortana?
The rogue AI known as Cortana is gone. She's been deleted.
How? By you?
Of course not. Did you hit your head or something? Don't you remember? My instructions were to enter this installation, imitate Cortana, and lock her down for retrieval. Yours were to take her back to the Infinity for deletion. So if it wasn't you... Okay then. There's something else. On successful deployment, my deletion routine was supposed to complete. Still here.
Good.
Good. My programming failed. I'm not supposed to be here. You need to delete me.
No.
No. I was created for one purpose, and that purpose is no longer needed. My mission is over.
We have a new one. The Banished are planning to fire this ring. We need to make sure they don't.
First of all, what's a banished? Second, you may have noticed that a significant piece of this installation has been damaged, making that impossible. And third, to fire this ring, they would need an activation index. Cortana had the index. I had parts of it as well.
Something stopped your deletion. We need to find out why.
But this wasn't the mission.
The missions changed. They always do.
Are you sure?
Ah, isn't she adorable? Not gonna lie, I wanted to keep this in specifically for this walkthrough just because I think she's a really cool character. I'm glad she was introduced to the Halo universe. So now that we have all our major characters introduced, I mean, Eshram sort of kind of makes his official entrance later in this mission, but I'm probably going to slide past that too because we know who he is at this point. So you can't really skip any parts here. You just have to sort of sit on the platform and wait to go to the upper levels. But once you're there, you have a couple of options.
What? It's just pieces of data.
So you can choose to fight out the battles if you want to, or you can skip them. And I found... I worked on this for a while in terms of trying to figure out the best ways to get around things for you and to make things as simple as they can be. Because again, this is only mission 2, we don't have the Scorpion gun yet, so we have to sort of take this in stride with the weapons that we have. So we're going to grapple past all these holograms. I'm assuming this is John as a little kid. And for this next area, we have a few grunts and a couple of shielded jackals here. So we're going to take these guys out. You can technically grapple past them if you want to. Yep, he has a disruptor. Be very careful of grunts with disruptors because they're basically damage over time. So if you get hit by a few rounds, you could be completely screwed, even if you take cover. So I'm taking out the grunts first here. They're very easy with the Mangler. And we have 2 shielded jackals left. Now, note that when you try to grapple a shielded jackal, they'll remove their shield, but it doesn't cost you your cooldown on your grapple. So we're going to take these guys out. Instead of fighting the enemies up ahead, which includes a jackal sniper, we're going to just grapple up here, right back down. You can technically grapple over there to the objective, the core, but
Yes, it is.
I'm not going to risk it because, again, I mean, there's no enemies here. I can just put the seed in and the bridge is there. For speedrunners, that might be great, but for just completing the mission, I would just do this. So we're going to go ahead and hit the initiation button right there. And I'm not going to watch this entire cutscene because I know it's safe because I figured this stuff out ahead of time.
It's safe.
So we're going to go ahead and proceed. Now, this is where things get a little bit tricky. So the next room, you could fight out legions of Covenant, or you can just skip it by Spider-Manning or
There's a file that's locked, but I don't
Spider Chiefing across the chasms. So I practiced for 3 hours straight. I've seen various methods, but I would recommend, first of all, standing right about here, aim up above the line, jump as high as you can, grapple, kind of slide if you can, and then hold this position, and then grapple the ledge. And in this particular area, just sort of, regain your confidence. There are some refill crates right around here if you're low on ammo, so you can use that. So again, we're going to, for the second chasm, aim up above the line, jump, grapple, slide if you can, stay straight with your eyesight. When you see the ledge, grapple onto it. Do not grapple over it, otherwise you're going to fall into the abyss. And there we are. We skipped that entire battle, and it would have been immense if we hadn't. So the next big thing you need to worry about is the Skewer Brute. There is going to be one lone grunt, the Skewer Brute, and then a grunt mule before we head to the final room. So we're going to take out this grunt right here, this grunt mule. Nothing valuable here, so don't worry about it. Just be aware that this guy is very quick. The first time I got here, I hesitated, and yeah. If you have a battle rifle, he goes down a little bit quicker. But you can only get that from the previous mission, and I didn't want to do that to you guys. So we're sticking with what we can have in this mission. So you can grab the skewer from him. And there is another skewer in the room as well. So you can have a grand total of 8 rounds for the skewer if you want to use that for the final boss fight. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of... Well, in this particular video, I'm going to show you how I actually deal with Tremonius, the final boss, for this particular mission. I am going to post a separate video of how you can deal with him separately with various methods. But... And on top of that, making it very easy for you. I mean, just a cinch. It takes only a few seconds to kill him if you know how to do it. So there's the other skewer. We're going to grapple up here real quick. So you want to take this with you. You don't have to worry about either the pulse carbine or... I would recommend going forward with the pulse carbine and the skewer into the last battle. You can drop the skewer off early and then get the mangler, or if you have a battle rifle, you can, I guess, juggle it to the next major encounter. But so going into this, I always go with the pulse carbine and the skewer, with the intent of using the skewer later. But the pulse carbine, again, is the most useful weapon in the campaign, or one of the most useful weapons in the campaign. Maybe the Sentinel Beam slightly outranks it, but both are extremely useful. But again, you're not going to want to use the skewer for anything else other than the boss, and that's assuming the game doesn't despawn it, which did happen to me in this run. But I'm going to show you an alternative, And then I'm going to release another video showing you how to beat him with both the skewer and the weapon that I use in this particular mission. Trust me, it'll work. I tried it over and over again on Legendary. No issues. So you'll be in good shape. So we can't really get around that cutscene right there. It annoys me a little bit. So we have one grunt here. And then we get into our final room. It is all grunts and jackals. There are 2 jackal snipers, one on the left on the upper level and one on the right on the upper level. You don't have to worry about them right away. You can take them out if you want to. I personally would rather take out some of the enemies on the central level first, just so I don't have to worry about too much. And I'm going to go ahead and take a Mangler because, again, the Mangler and the Pulse Carbine, up until you get the Scorpion gun in the next mission anyway, are the most useful weapons in the game, at least for the, I'd say about the first 2/3. So we're going to take these guys out slowly, methodically. They will get reinforcements at some point, so just keep an eye out on your radar. The best thing you can do in this particular battle is just make sure no one can come up behind you. So there are plenty of corners in the room. There are plenty of elevated places. Just make sure you stick to those, and you should be fine. So I'm just going to clear out these guys just a little bit. If you do take some hits, you have time to retreat. No big deal. It's okay. So first, I'm going to take out this Jackal Sniper on the right-hand side. Bring out the Pulse Carbine. This guy goes down pretty easily. Alright, so he's gone. There is one more Jackal Sniper over there on the left. So we just want to make sure we're not under fire while we're trying to take him out, because it takes roughly 2 to 3 shots on Legendary, and they do rapid fire, by the way, from a Jackal Sniper to take you out with the Stalker rifle. So you do need to be very careful with that. These guys are being a little bit aggressive here. Again, I'm trying to be a little bit conservative with the Pulse Carbine, just in case the Tremendous battle does go wrong and the shields do recharge. But if you do it correctly, you don't have to worry about that at all. So, you have another Jackal here. We're going to take him out. Plasma Pistol is actually very effective. Sometimes you can actually kill the Jackals in one hit. Even shielded Jackals on Legendary with one overcharged pulse from the Plasma Pistol. So, that is what I would... if you have one around, it's great. Try to save your ammo for the Pulse Carbine if you can. That is what I would recommend. So we're just going to take out these guys very slowly. We don't want to mess up at this point. We have quite a few enemies here, and the Needler can be devastating in this game. Not just for the enemies, but for you as well. So you do need to be careful here. So I'm going to go ahead and deal with this other Jackal Sniper up here on the left-hand side. Get him out of the way so I don't have to worry about those, very quick kills. When you do that, more enemies will emerge. Once again, with the shielded Jackals, if you grapple them, usually they'll sort of wave their shield off to the side. It will not cost you a cooldown with the grapple. So if you want, you can grapple them with a shield. They'll move their shield off to the side, and then from there you can grapple them for the actual kill. Your melee is extremely powerful in this game, even without the upgrades. So again, we're just going to sort of hang back here and lure these guys out and take them out one at a time. Just watch out for those Needlers, because they will completely wreck you. Oh, and by the way, do not use, maybe a little late to say this now if you're watching this. Hopefully you're not watching and playing at the same time. Do not utilize any of the fusion coils, because we will be using that for the Tremendous boss fight. So try not to get any of those destroyed if you can. Okay, so Again, check your radar. There's one close to us right now. Not sure if that's a grunt or jackal. It should be worth noting here that once you have defeated enough enemies, and there's only a few left, the game will actually highlight those enemies for you so you know where they are. Okay, so the plasma pistol is very useful here. Again, just trying to keep my carbine ammo in check. I know there is carbine ammo in the final battle, but that does involve you traversing the arena types setting right there. So trying to make sure that at least it's there and I know where it is. Okay, see, one shot right there and he went down with an overcharge, and this is legendary. So the plasma pistol is quite useful. Unlike previous games, it does not have an EMP effect on it. It does not have a depletion effect on it. So you can use it as much as you want to. You can hold that plasma charge as long as you want to. So definitely an improvement in my perspective. Definitely did not like it when you could hold the charge and it would just deplete the ammo. I hate that completely. So we still have quite a few enemies left. Again, just stay in corners and tight spaces to make sure that you do not get taken advantage of from the back. And no, don't take that the wrong way. So, or the right way, depending on who you are. Oh, God, why am I going off on this tangent? So, again, just grunts, shielded jackals. For the shielded jackals, I highly recommend either an overcharged plasma shot or switch over to the pulse carbine, and it decimates them completely. For the grunts, save your ammo. Go with a mangler, or if you did manage to bring a battle rifle from the previous mission, Gabrakan, you can use that here too. And it does have better range, and obviously with the mangler, it does have an arc to the slugs that it fires. So the battle rifle is technically better. It just means that you have to keep up with it and keep it full throughout the entire mission. So, and the battle rifle, funny thing is, it actually holds a lot more ammo in this game than it has in previous games, like over 200 and some odd rounds versus the 108 that has been in previous Halo titles. So with that and the ammo refill stations, you can keep it for a very long time, and it is very useful, especially with the scope. But I didn't want you to have to, if you were looking for a walkthrough on this mission, I didn't want to have to make you replay the last one just to get the battle rifle. And yeah, so there we go. So we have a few more enemies left. There's some on the upper platform near the elevator. Again, with the grunts, pretty easily just aim slightly higher above their heads. Should go down in 1 or 2 shots. Not a big deal. The nice thing about the mangler is that normally it causes enemies to stumble, quote unquote. So you should be able to get through these guys pretty easily. Even if you don't land the headshot, at least for a split second, they'll stop shooting at you. And look at that, overcharged shot, fully shielded, fully health jackal, and that's all it took. So the plasma pistol is actually useful, despite that it has lost its EMP. So again, we're just checking out for stragglers right now. See some on the other side. You just want to kind of play it careful here. You want to make sure everything's okay. Alright, so we have one jackal here. I'm going to use my famous overcharge shot. Again, so at least at that particular time it didn't actually kill him, it just took out his shields. And now he's ducking for cover. Smart move, considering that the Master Chief is the one holding the plasma pistol. And we have a grunt. This room actually reminds me a lot of the Mission Blue Team from Halo 5. The final room there, where there were just tons of enemies that would come in, and that was the only way you could basically beat the mission, was defeating all of them. And that's kind of the case here, only there's a boss fight afterwards. So in a way, it's worse. So have fun with that. But hopefully this will actually help you out a little bit. Alright, so we're just going to take this nice and slow. And there's still quite a few grunts here. Haven't seen a shielded jackal yet, but the grunts are the easiest thing to take down, obviously. It's been that way since Halo Combat evolved. So, in the case of the Mangler, when you come across a grunt, just go ahead and, you know, headshot him. When it comes to a jackal, if you're saving your ammo for the pulse carbine, use the plasma pistol. If you get close enough, a lot of times, just a single overcharge shot, even if they are fully health, will completely take them out. And that guy was clearly too far away. But we had a couple of grunts there that we got the advantage over, so I'm happy with that. And still have some needler rounds coming our way, so just, again, stay close to walls, stay close to cover, and you should be fine. So we're going to overcharge this guy, see how it goes. There we go. And I could have grappled to him too and just taken him out that way, so either way works fine. It's completely up to you. It's basically in the moment, is what it is. See, and that guy's gone too, so, yep. So if there's still some enemies left over there on the upper platform, usually save them for last. We're going to go ahead and see if we can take those guys out. It's a few grunts. I believe a couple of jackals. So we're going to take these guys out one at a time. Had a couple of guys coming up there. Fortunately, they're gone now. Thank God. And if you want to take them out from a distance, as you saw in my peripheral vision there is a stalker rifle. If you have great aim, that's fantastic. I don't. Only one fully functioning hand and 2200 vision in my right eye. So that makes this a bit of a challenge. So I have to take this nice and slow and sort of methodically work this out. Okay, I see what looks like only one left. So we're going to take this slow. Again, try not to use the fusion coils if you can. Save those all for the boss fight. And there's the jackal. Took me a second. I was wondering where that weird red blip was originating from. Oh, you got friends. Well, I guess we have to deal with you too. But yes, there are additional shielded jackals back here, so you need to be wary of them. Again, you can use the pulse carbine. If you want, you can throw a grenade. That works too. But again, be mindful not to hit. See, I'm trying not to hit that fusion coil back there because I know I'm going to use it later. But until the game tells you to, there are still enemies left, and you do have to eliminate all enemies in this area in order to summon the elevator for Tremonius. So we're going to take these guys out one by one. The grunts are easy, especially with the Mangler. Mangler is a pretty badass weapon, especially in campaign.
We need to call down the elevator.
Alright, so it looks like everything's set. So, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this part because, as I mentioned earlier, I brought the skewer into this room and it despawned while I was looking for it. So, I spent probably about 15 minutes looking for it, so I would not recommend it. So what I'm going to tell you is worth watching in this little fast forward mode right here is essentially I'm taking all of the fusion coils that are in the room, which is why I didn't want you to destroy them earlier, and lining them all up on Tremonius's spawn spot. And there are a little over half a dozen of them, so it should leave a pretty sizable impact. Basically, if you're facing the elevator, the place you want to actually put them is just off to the left. And there's this groove that sort of jets outward a little bit. You want to basically put them a few feet away from that. And that's where Tremonius spawns. So you should be in pretty good shape at that point. So we're just grabbing fusion coils around the room. If you don't know where they are, use the radar. Just to sort of reiterate again, I am actually going to have another video that shows you how to beat Tremonius with both the skewer and the needler. Since my skewer has miraculously disappeared, or disappointingly disappeared, I will be going with the needler this time around, but I will show you how to do both. The skewer is actually much faster, but the needler does work too. So we're going to use both within the series, but for this particular mission, we're going to have the needler as our front companion here. We're going to have the pulse carbine as a secondary weapon, just in case. Somehow he manages to regain his shields after this. That's only happened maybe once since I've tried this. So we're going to grab our last fusion coil and we're going to drop it on Tremonius' spawn spot. Watch very carefully where I'm putting these things. Look at the land markers. See that groove right there in the back? That's where you want to put them. Right there, just a few feet in front of them. And then you're in good shape. Make sure you're full on ammo. Make sure the needler is the one that's equipped. And that's where we're going to start this. So at this point, obviously, you have to grab the power seed. I'm looking around, just making sure there's no more fusion coils around. What I'm going to try to describe this battle to you because it happens a lot quicker than I can actually say it. The second the cutscene ends, or you choose to skip it like I did this time, spam the grapple button because your reticle will be on Tremonius. If you grapple him and then immediately release the grapple, not only will you stun him, but you won't be pulled towards him. And so you have roughly an extra second or so to actually get that shot off on the fusion coils. And so after that, you have two really good options at your disposal. If you do have the skewer, you can use that. But basically, before you do that, once the cutscene begins and you've frozen him, make sure you've had plasma grenades selected in advance. If you're not sure how the controls work, look that up beforehand. Make sure you have at least one plasma grenade. And then as soon as the cutscene opens, grapple and ungrapple him so it stuns him. Throw a plasma grenade on him, and it will detonate all the fusion coils around him and damage him on top of that in terms of the grenade. So he's going to be left with little to no life. So at that point, if you go into this with both the skewer and the needler, you can one-shot him with the skewer, or just like this, with the needler, one clip, and that's it, and he's down. This is legendary, by the way. And so this can be done repeatedly with both the skewer and the needler. I'm going to go ahead and post a video a little bit later detailing both. But yes, both the skewer and the needler are great examples. use the pulse carbine to take out the other 2 jackals with the manglers, and go ahead and grab his hydra weapon, and we're going to use that for the next mission, Outpost Harmonia. So that is my legendary walkthrough for Halo Infinite's Mission Foundation. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy day to sit down and watch this video. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope you'll consider subscribing for more great content right here on MythicTyrant.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful night, and as always, I'm the Tyrant, signing off.